The phone screen glows in the dark of the ranch kitchen, the words cutting deeper than any winter wind. Old man, don't you dare come here. I do not need you. Just go die of old age alone. I read it 10 times. Each time, the ice in my veins spread. The police, when I called them, said I should be hurt, that I should let it go. But a father knows. A father feels when the blood of his blood is screaming in silence. That night, I didn't go to bed grieving. I went to war. And by the time the sun rose, the men who did this were either in cuffs, or in the ground. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you called family, if you've ever felt that primal, gut-churning fear for someone you love, then you understand that sometimes, revenge isn't a choice, it's a duty. Strap in. This is a story about the night an old rancher became a wolf. Just a few hours before that text lit up my world with poison, I was the happiest old fool on this border ranch. The winter wind was howling through the cracks, but in my kitchen, my heart was a furnace. I was polishing my old cowhide boots, my war boots, packing simple gifts. A bourbon I'd aged myself for 5 years. Peach preserves from my own trees. A wool scarf I'd clumsily knitted for my daughter-in-law, Lauren. Even though I knew she'd probably toss it in a drawer. It was the thought that counted. 6 months ago, my Matthew had hugged me, his eyes shining. Old Dad, this Christmas, you have to come to the city. I'm gonna roast you the best brisket in the world. That promise was my fuel for half a year. Matthew, my boy, a man of his word, solid as the oak in these hills. Then the phone vibrated, and my world shattered. Old man. He never called me that, not with that hate. It was Dad. Chief, you old goat, with a laugh. And the punctuation. Matthew was careful. This was cold, mechanical, like a stranger kicking out a stray dog. I called. Voicemail. Called Lauren. Her voice was tinny, tight, out of breath. Hello, Dad, is that you? She said they were at the airport, an emergency trip to Miami. That Matthew was sleeping, tired, but she was lying. I could taste the lie, and behind her, I didn't hear airport announcements. I heard the thumping bass of gangster rap, the kind Matthew hated. And then, a man's rough voice snarling in the background. Hang up. Tell that old fossil to get lost. The call cut. I stood frozen in my kitchen, knuckles white on the phone. A normal father might be hurt. Might pack away his gifts and cry into his whiskey. But I'm not a normal father. I've lived 70 years on this hard land. I can smell danger like I can smell coming rain. It has a scent. Metallic. Like gunpowder and blood. My boy wasn't on vacation. He was in a cage. I opened a drawer, not for clothes. I pulled out my old folding knife, the oak handle worn smooth from 40 years of use. The blade flicked open, catching the yellow light. It could cut rope, skin a rabbit, and if necessary, protect my family from wild beasts. Tonight, I had a feeling I'd be meeting beasts. I slipped it into my jacket pocket, right over my heart. I left my warm house behind. I wasn't going to a Christmas dinner. I was going to a battlefield. I sat huddled in the last seat of the beat-up night bus. Every mile, the stone in my chest grew heavier. Run, William, run, my gut screamed. They say an old wolf smells the storm before the clouds break. My storm had a name, Matthew. I arrived in the city when it was already dark on the 23rd, all glittering lights and fake cheer. My taxi pulled up to Matthew's neighborhood. His house should have been glowing. It was his pride. But as we stopped, my blood went cold. The house was dark, dead, no lights, no wreath, and in the driveway, 3 huge pitch-black pickup trucks with tinted windows, splattered with red border mud, parked brutally on his pristine lawn. Invasion, that's the only word. And then, the sound, not carols. That vile thumping music bleeding out from the house. Lyrics about crossing borders with white packages. Matthew's sanctuary was defiled. I got closer, peering through a crack in the living room curtain. The scene inside was a tableau of grotesque invasion. His in-laws Frank, the father-in-law guzzling Matthew's good whiskey straight from the bottle. The mother, Margaret, ash from her cigarette dripping onto the white rug. And him. A shaved head bull of a man with a scorpion tattoo crawling up his neck. Lauren's brother, Cyclops. Matthew called him a disaster. A mob leech. And he was there, feet on my son's coffee table, cleaning his nails with Matthew's good fruit knife. My rage was a cold, hard knot in my stomach. Where was my son? I rang the bell. The music dipped. Lauren opened the door a crack. She was gaunt, with haunted eyes and heavy makeup that couldn't hide the bruises on her wrist. William, she whispered, pure terror in her voice. Hello, daughter, I'm here. Matthew didn't answer. She panicked, stumbling over her words. Dad, why did you come? The message, we're at the airport. No, we canceled. Matthew's sleeping. He's tired. I cut her off, my voice like ice. Lauren, you say he's sleeping. Then what is that music? Whose trucks are those? Why is your family having a party in his house if he's sick? Cyclops shoved the door open, reeking of beer and arrogance. Who is it, sis? Oh, the old rancher. He sneered, looking me up and down. Hey, fossil. Wrong house. We don't buy manure here, get lost. I clenched my fist. I came to see my son. Move, he laughed. Your son doesn't want to see you. He's sick of your stink. He turned and shoved Lauren. Close the damn door before I lose my temper. I saw the pure terror in her eyes, the fresh bruises. She looked at me, pleading. Dad, please, go. Matthew's fine. Tomorrow, he'll call. Just, go. I roared, shoving against the door. Lauren, where is my son? Bam. The door slammed shut. The bolt slid home. From inside, Cyclops's laughter mixed with the booming music, mocking me. I staggered back into the freezing night. My face wasn't one of defeat. It was of grim, settled resolve. The kind a hunter gets when he finally sights his prey. They thought a wooden door would stop me. They thought I'd go back to the bus station, a heartbroken old man. Fools. I threw my suitcase in the bushes, kept the knife, and slipped into the shadows around the back of the house. The garden, once Matthew's pride, was a wasteland. Trampled roses, deep tire tracks in the mud. The smell of damp earth, gasoline, and rot. I moved towards the old tool shed. But it was different. The flimsy door was now braced with iron bars. And on the latch a padlock, big as my fist, shining under the moon like a devil's eye. Why lock up shovels? My gut screamed. I pressed my ear to the rotting wood. Silence. Then, clink, clink, the sound of heavy chain. A weak broken moan. Aha. Water. I knew that voice, even twisted by agony. My lips pressed to the wood. Matthew, is that you, son? Silence. Then knock. Knock. A heart-wrenching sob. Dad, Daddy. The world fell away. My boy, not in Miami. Not in a warm bed. Here, in this freezing coffin. Tears welled and instantly evaporated, replaced by a fury so pure it was terrifying. I found a rusty iron bar. Tonight, there would be no silent night. With a grunt, I jammed the bar and levered it. The rotten wood splintered with a dry crack. The door groaned open. I slipped inside, flashlight on. The smell hit me first. Rot, urine, blood, and cheap antiseptic. Then the light found him. My strong, tall son. Curled on the dirt floor in torn shorts, skin purple from the cold, hands tied to a post. His right leg, chained at the ankle with a thick dog chain, bolted into the concrete. The leg was swollen to twice its size, purple-black, twisted at a sickening angle. They'd broken it and left him to rot. He squinted, terrified. Dad, turn off the light. Run, he has a gun. I fell to my knees, cradling his bruised face. My God, my boy. What did they do to you? As I covered him with my jacket, he told me in gasps. Discovering Frank and Cyclops, using his trucking company to move drugs. Confronting them, Frank knocking him out from behind with a wrench. Waking up here, Cyclops laughing, shattering his leg with a baseball bat. They took my phone. Cyclops sent the text. Said if I didn't give the password, he'd kill Lauren. He'd kill you, Dad. I asked about Lauren. His face twisted with a deeper pain. She knows. She stood and watched. She chose her family. Betrayal. A poison deadlier than any bullet. My rage was a silent inferno. Then Matthew pointed a trembling finger to a corner table. The flashlight revealed a syringe, a spoon, a lighter, a bag of white powder. That's for me. Dad, tonight. Cyclops' Christmas gift. He's going to make me an addict, so my word means nothing. So they can control me forever. It wasn't enough to break his body. They wanted to enslave his soul. To turn my proud son into a begging zombie. In that moment, any scrap of mercy I had left died. Click a sound at the shed door. Drunken humming. Merry Christmas, brother-in-law. Time for your medicine. I motioned for silence. Turned off the light, grabbed the iron bar, and melted into the shadows behind the door. I was a 70-year-old man with aching joints. He was a 30-year-old bull with a gun. An unfair fight. But I had two things he didn't. The element of surprise. And the heart of a father defending his cub. The door burst open. Cyclops stumbled in, bottle in one hand, pistol in the other. Ready to fly to heaven. As he advanced, distracted, I struck from the darkness. The iron bar smashed down on his gun wrist, a sickening crack. The pistol clattered away. What the? A brutal, close-quarters fight. He overpowered me, his fat hands squeezing my throat. My vision darkened, but my hand found the oak-handled knife. Click, I didn't stab wildly. I aimed for the femoral artery. Slash, a wet tearing sound. Cyclops's scream was a pure animal terror. He collapsed, clutching his spurting leg. I scrambled, gasping. Matthew. The gun. Matthew, with tied hands, grabbed it, aimed shakily. Don't move, don't you move. Cyclops, bleeding and terrified, raised his hands. I delivered a final blow with the bar. Bam! He fell, unconscious. Looking at him, I didn't feel disgust. I felt a deep, primal satisfaction. One beast down. No time. I found truck keys on him. Used a wrench to unscrew the chain from the floor bolt, leaving it on Matthew's ankle. We stumbled out, a three-legged race through hell. As we reached the patio, a blinding porch light hit us. Frank stood there with a double-barreled shotgun. Freeze! You killed my boy. Bang! Dirt sprayed at our feet. We ran, rolled through bushes. Reached a black truck. I floored it, ramming through the iron gate as Frank took another shot. We escaped into the dark highway. The truck roared into the night. Matthew was fading, going into shock. I talked to him, yelled at him, told him stories from when he was a boy, anything to keep him awake. But the real devil was waiting in a place that was supposed to mean help. A small, rundown clinic in Oak Creek. The nurse and doctor were immediately suspicious. The doctor looked at the chain, the broken leg. This isn't an accident. These are blunt force traumas. Who are you? I'm his father. Heal his leg, then ask questions. The doctor nodded to the nurse. Morphine, and call the police, not the locals. Call the feds. It's protocol, he said coldly. They took Matthew inside. I was left in the waiting room, Cyclops's dry blood still under my nails. Within minutes, sirens. Not an ambulance. 2 Oak Creek patrol cars. The commander, a man with a bushy mustache, walked straight to me. William, you're under arrest. Kidnapping, assault. Are you insane? My son was tortured. He got close, his breath in my face, and whispered so only I could hear. The Santalons already called. Old man, you kicked the wrong hive. Cyclops is my drinking buddy. My blood ran cold. The whole town was rotten. Survival instinct took over. I grabbed a plastic chair, smashed it on the nearest cop, and ran into the treatment room, barricading the door. Open up, you crazy old man. The blows thundered against the wood. Matthew, drugged but awake, looked at me with new fear. They're Cyclops's people. They're here to finish the job. We were trapped. Windows barred. My phone dead. As the door cracked, Matthew, fighting the morphine, gasped. Dad, my left shoe, the insole. I tore it open, a hidden SD card. Body cam, from the warehouse. It has everything. Them packing the drugs. Frank hitting me. It's our only proof. It was a tiny piece of plastic. Our only lifeline. The door splintered. Tear gas seeped in. I turned to the terrified nurse. Your phone. Does it have social media? Live stream now. Hesitating, she handed it over, pointed the camera. I looked directly into the lens. Bloody, desperate, but clear-eyed. My name is William. This is my son, Matthew. I showed his shattered leg, the chain. Look what his wife's family did to him. They chained him like a dog because he found their drugs. And the police outside. They're here to kill us to cover it up. This is the Oak Creek Police and the Santalon cartel. Share this. If we die tonight, don't let it be in vain. The door exploded inward. Cops in gas masks swarmed. A baton hit my shoulder. An electric shock from a taser made my body convulse. As I fell to the cold floor, vision blurring, I saw the nurse's screen. Published successful. And I smiled. The world already knew. The corrupt commander stood over me, baton raised. I told you, old man. Here, I'm the law. Boom. The clinic's main door blew off its hinges. A new voice, hard as steel, cut through the smoke. Federal police, drop your weapons. Through the gas, a tactical team swarmed. Their commander, David, my old student, faced down the local cop. Your duty is to protect people, not murderers. Cuff them all. The local cops were disarmed, thrown to the floor. David helped me up. Master William. I came as fast as I could. I coughed, pulling in clean air. Just in time, son. Just in time. That live stream had gone viral in minutes. It was the spark that lit the fuse. What followed was a whirlwind. The video had millions of views. The public outcry was a tidal wave. Federal agents raided the Sandilan house. They found Frank and Margaret burning papers. They found Cyclops moaning on a sofa, his leg a mess. They found the hidden bunker under the garage floor, bricks of drugs, an arsenal, and Lauren. They led her out in handcuffs. She didn't run, she just looked at the camera, empty. I felt no joy watching her. Just a deep sadness. Greed and cowardice had eaten the good girl I knew from the inside out. 3 months later, the trial. The Sandilans had slick lawyers who called Matthew a liar, an addict. They spun beautiful, poisonous lies. Until David took the stand. He entered the SD card as evidence. The courtroom screen lit up. There it was. Frank and Cyclops, clear as day, packing the white bricks into tires. Their voices: if this goes well, we change cars. Do it right. If Matthew finds out, there's trouble. Then Matthew's voice from the camera. What are you doing? I'm calling the police. A grunt. The sickening thud of the wrench. Matthew's cry. The video went dark, but the audio kept recording the moans, the laughter. Total silence in the courtroom. The lawyers' heads hung. Then I was called. I stood before the men who tortured my son. I don't know much about fancy laws. I'm just a father. I taught my son to work hard, to be straight. I didn't teach him to fight demons, but I taught him that if you fall, you get up. And if you can't, I carry you. I pointed to Matthew in his wheelchair. You broke his leg, but you never broke his soul. And you will never break a father's love. You have money, guns, power, but we have the truth. And truth never dies. The room erupted. The gavel fell. Frank, 25 years. Cyclops 30. Margaret, 15 for complicity. Everything they owned, gone. After the trial, Lauren asked to see Matthew. In a guarded room, she sobbed. Matthew, forgive me. I was afraid they'd kill me. Kill you. He looked at her, calm but weary. I know you were afraid, Lauren. Everyone's afraid of dying. I forgive you. I don't hold a grudge, because that's like drinking poison hoping the other person dies. Hope flickered in her eyes. He shook his head slowly, but forgiving isn't returning. You stood and watched. Your silence hurt more than the bat. I need someone who stands with me in the storm. Not behind the enemy. Goodbye, Lauren. I hope you find peace. But not with me. He turned his chair and left. I put a hand on his shoulder. We walked out into the sun. Months later, back at the ranch. A roaring bonfire under the stars. Matthew, now on a crutch, turned a brisket on the grill, the smell of oak smoke and spices filling the air. He kept his promise. David was there too. 3 men. We raised glasses of that 5-year bourbon. 2 coming home, David said. To justice, Matthew said. My voice was thick. To being alive. I looked into the fire, and I want to talk to you. Friends, life is full of traps. Wolves in sheep's clothing. They can take your money, your house, your good name. But there's one thing they can never take from you. It's the blood that runs in your family. That tie that pulls at your gut. Never ignore that voice. When it tells you your child is in danger, you send fear to the devil. You kick down the doors. You fight like a beast. Because a man's true wealth isn't in his bank. It's sitting right here, around this fire. I'm William. I'm a father, and I am proud to be one. I took a bite of the brisket, smiled at my son. It's perfect, son. Better than any 5-star restaurant. His eyes shone, the shadows of the barn finally gone. Merry Christmas, Dad. Merry Christmas, son. The fire crackled. The wind blew cold, but our faces were warm, at peace. If this story of unwavering loyalty and brutal justice hit you in the gut, if it reminded you what's truly worth fighting for, then do us a favor. Smash that like button. Tells the algorithm this is the kind of raw, real storytelling you want. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we delve into tales like this every single week. And let us know in the comments, what would you have done in William's shoes? Would you have trusted that gut feeling? Your stories fuel this channel. For another tale of a revenge so clever it destroyed a corrupt empire from within, click the video on screen now. Thanks for watching.